All right, good evening. We're going to go through 26.1. This is part 2. We're going to talk about simple invertebrates today. This is the cladogram of invertebrates. We've talked about this already. It shows current hypothesis of evolutionary relationships among modern invertebrates. Groups are shown close together that are shown closer together are more closely related than groups that are shown further apart. So, for example, the flatworms are closer to the annelids than they are to cnidarians because they're closer here on the cladogram than the other is. Again, we looked at this yesterday. The kingdoms, all the different kingdoms under kingdom Animalia, the different phylum. And today we're going to focus mainly on Porifera and Cnidaria. Okay? Cnidaria. All right. Sponges. This is from the phylum Porifera, meaning pore bearers. The sponges are the most ancient members of the kingdom Animalia. They are multicellular, heterotrophic, they lack cell walls, and they contain a few specialized cells. Sometimes people think of sponges as plants, however, they are not. Cnidarians. This is the phylum. This includes jellyfish, sea fans, sea anemones, hydras, and corals. Cnidarians are aquatic, meaning they live in the water. They're soft-bodied. They're carnivorous. They eat meat. They have radial symmetry, so you can cut in several different planes. They have stinging tentacles and that are arranged in circles around their mouths. They are the simplest animals to have body symmetry. So remember, we've discussed the two types of symmetry, bilateral and radial. And this, moving through the cladogram, these are the simplest form to show symmetry. The phylum Platyhelminthes, these are worms. We mainly call these flatworms. They're soft, unsegmented, flattened worms that have tissues and internal organ systems. So these are unsegmented, okay? So that means that they are less complicated, less complex than the segmented version. They are the simplest animals to have 3 embryonic germ layers. They have bilateral symmetry, so they're not radial, they're bilateral. So if you cut them down the middle, you'll have a mirror image on either side. And they have cephalization, so they have a head. Flatworms do not have a coelom, so we call them acoelomates. All right, next phylum are nematodes. So this is Nematoda. These are the roundworms. So we have flatworms and roundworms, very different. Nematodes are also unsegmented. They have a pseudocoelom. So unlike the flatworms, which are acoelomates, these are pseudocoelomates. They have specialized tissue. They have organ systems, a digestive tract, and they have 2 openings. They have a mouth, and they also have an anus. They're pseudocoelomates, so you do have somewhat of a coelom there. Nematodes were once thought to be closely related to flatworms, annelids, and mollusks, but have been found to be more closely related to arthropods. Arthropods are bugs, crustaceans, those sorts of things. Mollusks. This is the last phylum that we're going to talk about today, I think. So phylum mollusk includes snails, slugs, clams, squids, and octopi. I want you to make sure that you are taking notes through this and getting down examples of all of these things. Mollusks are soft-bodied animals that have an internal or external shell. They have a true coelom, they are coelomates, surrounded by mesoderm, and they have a complex organ system. So mollusk, if you think of snails, they have an external shell. Okay, slugs have do not have anything external. Clams, the shell that you have to get off. Squid have an internal, and octopi also have some sort of an internal shell. We think of it more as a cartilage skeleton. Many mollusks have a free-swimming larva or immature stage called a trochophore. So before we were discussing that things might look different when they're in their early stages than in the adult stage, and mollusks find that. So they're free-forming larvae before they get into the adult stage. Okay, that was it for tonight. It was pretty quick. Tomorrow in class, you're going to be watching a video on these simple animals and doing some questions. Make sure that tomorrow night you come back to do the next section. Will be part 2.